Imagine this. You're exhausted, scrubbing the same kitchen floor for the third time in a week, your hands raw and your back aching, while the people who call you family sit on the couch laughing at you. You live here for free, clean it again. They shout, their voices dripping with mockery. But what if that very moment of humiliation became the spark that changed everything? Stick around until the end of this story, because the twist will leave you inspired, maybe even in tears. If you've ever felt overlooked, undervalued, or like the world was stacked against you, hit that like button right now and subscribe for more real-life stories that prove resilience always wins. Let's dive in. Elena had always been the quiet one, the girl who blended into the wallpaper of her aunt's sprawling suburban home. At 26, she still carried the weight of losing her parents in a car accident 10 years earlier. With no siblings and no inheritance to speak of, she had nowhere else to go. Aunt Clara and Uncle Mark had taken her in, out of the goodness of their hearts, or so they reminded her daily. Their two children, spoiled twins named Jake and Mia, treated the house like their personal playground and Elena like the unpaid maid. The routine was soul-crushing but predictable. Elena worked a grueling shift at a local diner from dawn until mid-afternoon, then rushed home to tackle endless chores. Laundry piled like mountains, dishes stacked in the sink, and floors that never seemed clean enough no matter how hard she scrubbed. You live here for free, Aunt Clara would say with a sigh, as if the words excused everything. The least you can do is keep this place spotless. Uncle Mark would grunt in agreement from his recliner, remote in hand, while Jake and Mia scrolled through their phones, giggling at memes about lazy relatives. They laughed the hardest when Elena wiped the same countertop twice because Mia had, accidentally, spilled juice right after she finished. Clean it again, Cinderella. They'd chant, their laughter echoing through the halls like cruel music. But Elena wasn't broken. Deep down, beneath the exhaustion that made her collapse into bed each night with barely enough energy to breathe, burned a quiet fire. She had dreams her family knew nothing about. In the stolen hours after midnight, when the house finally fell silent, Elena wrote. Not just journal entries or grocery lists, real stories. Heartfelt tales of loss, hope, and the kind of strength that rises from rock bottom. She poured her pain onto the pages of a secret notebook, then typed them into her old, battered laptop. Her words were raw, emotional, and deeply relatable. She dreamed of one day publishing a book that might help someone else feel less alone. For now, though, survival came first. She cleaned with a thoroughness that bordered on obsession, not just to avoid conflict, but because perfect order was the only thing she could control in her chaotic world. The challenges mounted like storms that refused to pass. There were nights when Elena's body screamed for rest, her hands cracked and bleeding from harsh cleaners. Jake once, helpfully, tracked mud across the freshly mopped living room just to watch her redo it, high-fiving Mia as they filmed her on their phones for a private joke reel. Aunt Clara criticized every detail. You missed a spot under the table. Do it again. We let you live here for free, and this is how you repay us. The emotional toll was heavier. Elena missed her parents fiercely during family dinners where she served everyone but ate alone in the kitchen. She felt invisible, a ghost haunting her own life. Money was another constant battle. Her diner wages barely covered her bus fare and basic needs, leaving nothing for the writing courses she longed to take or the laptop upgrade that would make her work easier. Doubt whispered constantly, "Who are you to dream when you can't even afford independence?" Yet Elena pushed through. She found small pockets of joy in her routine. While polishing the silverware, she'd hum old lullabies her mother used to sing. As she folded laundry, she'd imagine the characters in her stories finding their happy endings. Her writing became her sanctuary. Over months, she crafted a manuscript titled Shadows and Sunlight*, a semi-autobiographical novel about a young woman rebuilding after loss. She submitted it quietly to a few online contests, never telling a soul. Rejections came, as they always do, but so did one small acceptance, an honorable mention that included a modest cash prize and feedback from a real editor. It wasn't much, but it was proof that her voice mattered. One ordinary Tuesday, the mockery reached its peak. Elena had just finished deep cleaning the entire downstairs after a weekend party thrown by the twins. The house gleamed, but Mia, in a fit of boredom, knocked over a vase of flowers, scattering petals and water across the foyer. "Oops," she said with a smirk. You live here for free, clean it again." The family erupted in laughter from the living room. Elena's shoulders slumped, but she grabbed the mop without a word. Her eyes stung with unshed tears as she knelt to wipe the mess. In her fatigue, her foot slipped on the wet tile. She caught herself on the edge of a side table, but not before her elbow knocked over a decorative box that had sat untouched for years. The box tumbled open, spilling old letters and documents across the floor. Among them was something unexpected. A faded envelope addressed to Elena's mother, containing legal papers from a distant relative. It detailed a small trust fund set aside years ago, one that Aunt Clara had apparently forgotten to mention after the accident. The fund had grown modestly, enough to cover first and last month's rent on a tiny apartment, plus a few months of breathing room. Elena stared in disbelief, her heart pounding. This was the slip-up, the moment her family's carelessness and cruelty cracked open the door to her freedom. But the real turning point came days later. Fueled by the discovery and a surge of quiet anger, Elena didn't confront them immediately. Instead, she finished her novel in a burst of inspired late nights. She queried agents with renewed fire, weaving in the raw emotions of her lived experience. While her family continued their jabs, clean it again, freeloader, Elena was secretly packing her bags. Her manuscript landed with a small but passionate publisher. The advance wasn't life-changing, but combined with the trust fund, it was enough. She moved out quietly one weekend, leaving the house spotless one final time. The laughter stopped when the truth slipped out. A local news feature on emerging authors highlighted Elena's book, and suddenly her story went viral. Readers connected with the themes of silent endurance and unexpected triumph. Aunt Clara called in a panic, demanding to know why Elena hadn't shared family business. But Elena stood tall for the first time. "I cleaned your house with love and respect," she replied calmly, "even when you treated me like I owed you my soul. Turns out, living for free taught me the value of earning my own way." Elena's book climbed charts in its niche, touching thousands who felt unseen in their own struggles. She started a modest cleaning service on the side, not out of necessity, but as a way to empower other women starting over, offering fair wages and dignity. The family that once mocked her now watched from afar as she built a life filled with purpose, friendships, and the writing career she had whispered about in the dark. If Elena's journey teaches us anything, it's this: the tasks that seem beneath us, the moments of humiliation that sting the deepest, they often forge the strength we need to rise. No one can diminish your worth unless you let them. Keep showing up, keep cleaning up your own space in the world, and one day, that slip on the wet floor might just reveal the path to everything you've dreamed of. What challenges are you facing right now? Share in the comments. I read every single one. If this story moved you, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss another tale of quiet courage turning into loud victory. Your support means the world and helps these stories reach more hearts. Remember, you are stronger than their laughter. You always have been. Until next time, keep believing.